Without a doubt, the most important safety feature you could possibly have when using a machete out in the bush is actually not the machete itself, and it's not built into it, it's actually you. If you'd like to find out more about our new machete safety series that we're doing on YouTube, and we're just starting this off, and this is the very first video, hang around and we'll fill you in. G'day guys, welcome back to the shop. Now, safety with machetes, it's a huge topic and it's a really important topic. And I don't hear it discussed all that often anymore simply because, I mean, machetes are a very old world tool. And the way that we use machetes here in the West is not necessarily the same way that they're still used traditionally in places like South America, Southeast Asia. So, as far as how we use them here in the bush and how, we use them here in rural Australia, for example, there are some slight differences. And also being a very old world tool that got very quickly replaced by chainsaws and brush cutters, we actually don't have many people who can say, here is a safe way of using these tools. Another really important point about machetes is that machetes are a multi-purpose tool, which means that you don't just use them in one situation in one specific way. Being a multi-purpose tool, you're going to find yourself in lots of different situations where you are going to be using your machete, which means that it's a dynamic situation. So you need to be a little bit more, you need to think about what you're doing, which is the most important step. And most important point of this whole video is basically it's to stop and think. Now you might find it funny that we actually made a whole machete with just the labels stop and think written on it, but the truth is it's the most important safety feature built into any tool, any recreational activity, is yourself. You actually need to stop and think about what you're doing. I've seen a lot of really crazy stuff on YouTube. YouTube's a great learning tool for a lot of people around the world. I do see a lot of pretty out there stuff that I wouldn't personally class as safe. I'm starting to get a bit old now as well, and I'm a new dad. I'd like to be here for quite a while. And if I did some of the crazy stuff I see on YouTube, I don't think I'd be here for very long. So, I mean, that's another reason why I thought I'd like to do a little safety series, is because it's, there is some crazy stuff out there, and I'd rather give the advice or share with you my experiences with using machetes, more from an old man's perspective. So that's one part I want to talk about. I've also seen a lot of crazy stuff because I do hand a lot of really sharp machetes to people. And the first thing I see, well, it's not always, but I quite often see is they'll grab a machete and they'll grip it like a white knuckle fever, and then they'll swing into something and use it like a baseball bat. And that's not safe. The other thing that, another really important point I'd like to make is I actually don't like telling people what to do, and it's one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to do this video, is I just don't like it. I don't like telling people this is the way to do it. So I've been putting that off, but it came to me the other night, is that if I saw my brother doing something or my son, you're gonna laugh because he's only 3, but if I saw him doing something dangerous or saw someone around me doing something dangerous, I would stop and say something. So yeah, look, you know what, I am going to do a safety series. There is another legal aspect to it as well. I'm really quite careful, is that, or I need to be really careful about it, is that, guys, I don't want to get sued for this. At the end of the day, no matter what happens in any other videos when I talk about safety with machetes, don't take it as me telling you what to do. Take it as me sharing with you how I choose to do it. How you guys choose to use these tools, it's your call. You might think some of the things that I do are a little bit too cautious. You might think some of the things that I do are a little bit dangerous, but at the end of the day, you're all wise individuals. You can make up your own mind on that. I'm definitely not telling anyone what to do. So look, the crux of it, and it's really simple, is to stop and think about what you're doing. It's it's not just, you don't treat them like a baseball bat. More often than not, if it's one of our machetes, or if it's an old timer who sharpened it, it's going to be really sharp. So you need to have a really good think about it. Now I'm going to kick off this series with the first 2 most important points that I seem to think, I see happen quite often. It's injuries with the lower leg, and it's hand injuries. Now, there's lots of other videos that we want to do as well. I mean, look, there's safety features that are automatically built into, good quality machetes. You talk about this part here. This is probably the most important safety feature of a machete, is I call it the pommel. It needs to be quite large and quite swollen. It's there for a good reason, because it means that you can have a slightly more relaxed grip, but still retain that machete in your hand when you're swinging. I see a lot of modern machetes these days which have kind of gotten rid of that, or they've got a tiny piece of steel here. I think it's got to be the most uncomfortable looking machete to use, simply because whenever you're using it, you actually have to have quite a good solid grip on that machete the whole time, and your hand's going to tire out. And fatigue is has a really detrimental effect to safety. Your hand's going to tire out very quickly if you don't have that little feature here in the back of your handle. Now, what else can go wrong? A quick little primer onto the lower leg injuries, and the reason why I'm doing that as the first one, because it tends to be the most common and probably the most graphic. I wouldn't. Part of me says don't Google these videos, but you are going to see, if you do Google, you're going to see some pretty horrible injuries with lower leg injuries with machetes. Yeah, I don't enjoy looking at them. I don't know if you guys do or not, but that is one point I want to cover. It's the reason why I want to do it as the first video. But just to give you guys a quick primer, because I don't know when I'm actually going to shoot that one. But one of the first thing that you think about when you're doing any sort of a cut is, where is this machete going to stop? And you should actually plan to have a safe point where you're actually planning to stop this machete moving with a buffer zone. And the buffer zone is really important, because sometimes your machete is going to perform a little differently than what you anticipate. And I call it the rule of 45s. Basically, it's like, it's having a machete out in front of you. It's a 45-degree up and it's a 45-degree down. Another way of looking at it is you've got a 45-degree circle in front of you. I plan to start the machete in this position and stop the machete in this position. And the reason why, it's a very important point, the reason why I choose this 45-degree circle in front of me is because it's in my field of vision. I have a lot more control of what's happening in front of me than what's happening down here on my non-machete side, and up here out of my field of vision on my machete side. So, and that's really important, and that's why I choose to start and stop my machete strokes in this 45-degree arc. There's two little, what would you call it? There's two areas where I would not or break my personal rule, and it's this point here where I actually start the machete closer to my ear, and also finish the stroke. It's a really common spot to choose to finish a stroke down on your non-machete side, down in this position through here. The only times I'd ever do that is when I'm by myself, because I can tell you what, one thing's for sure, whenever my son's around or my dog's around, they see something moving up here and they want to see what I'm doing. The first place they stand is right here, down on my non-machete side. I don't want to stop the machete there. But I'm going to cut this nice and short. Guys, the most important thing is stop and think about what you're doing. It's not, I don't say that to take away your fun. It's just, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. At the end of the day, we all want to be safe and enjoy these tools. It's a lot of fun. But until next time, guys, thanks very much for watching. Sorry for the delay, it's been ages, but I'll see you then. Thanks very much, guys. Guys, I completely forgot to add this in, but it's about my qualifications with teaching you guys how to do anything. It is actually zero. I don't know of any courses that I could have done to safely teach you guys about machetes. At the end of the day, I'm just a guy who's been using machetes for a really long time. I do take a proactive role in safety, and I have in every aspect of my life, whether it's with any machinery. I've been running my own workshop since I was a kid. I've been using machetes since I was about 14. So I'd like to think that I have got some good advice to share with you, but technically I've got zero paperwork to say it's like, hey, I'm the guy that you guys need to follow. I just want a platform where I can actually share with you guys just some safer ways that I like to use machetes. But at the end of the day, you guys actually still need to do your own safety research. Well, I advise you guys to do your own research with it, because you might think that some of the things that I do are quite dangerous, and you might think that I'm being a little bit too cautious. At the end of the day, hopefully you're all wise enough to make up your own mind. But anyway, guys, thanks very much. The next video, I don't actually know, but it's going to be something interesting and fun. I'll see you guys then. Thanks very much.